I don't know. I don't know if my voice is getting better or if it's kind of nice. I'm getting used to sounding like Walter Denton. At any rate, let's talk about my man of the hour today. Boy, what a thrill. He was here once before, gosh, I guess about 4 years ago, and we had a great time. For you at home, he's the surrogate dad to millions of children across America. Wherever he goes, youngsters, as well as their parents, greet him with enthusiasm and with good reason. He's the host of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and he's always welcome in our neighborhood. Please, our man of the hour, Fred Rogers. Oh, we always have nice neighbors. Well, you don't care whether they're grown or youngsters. They're nice neighbors, aren't they?
Well, I enjoy to talk with people of any age.
I have a correction. Fred's been here twice before. One time we shared sneakers, and I tried to fit that song. Do you remember that?
I'll never forget it.
It's a wonderful... And I tried to do the sweater and the shoes, and I don't know how long it took you to get to that, but...
You said it was hard.
Of course I did. I don't do it every day. You feeling well?
I'm just fine, thanks. I've had a busy day already.
I know you did. Tell us a little bit about your busy day. You were just honored by the American Critics Association. These are critics from all over the country. And as critics are wont to do, they raised a couple of interesting questions.
They certainly did. We had a whole hour together, and they asked me all kinds of things about children and about television. And while I don't watch very much television, it certainly is an enormous force in people's lives. And you must know how very personal it is.
I do, but I don't deal on the same level that you do. I'm certainly not in that persuasive an area as you are, working with young, fertile minds. And one of the questions that I kind of was interested in, because I got a little advance copy from the meeting today, was what happens when Mr. Rogers goes? What happens to all those kids out there? How do we explain that to them? And is that going to be
I remember doing
any difficulty?
You know, we did one program about death, about the death of one of my goldfish. And I talked about my dogs dying when I was a little boy, and how my grandmother comforted me and how I cried. And what I like children to know is that there will always be somebody there to take care of them. And I think that's the most important message of all, because after all, what are we scared of as far as death's concerned? We're scared that there won't be anybody there to feed us or to take care of us.
We're scared of that as adults.
Of course.
Yeah. Something else you're very interested in is daycare. You've written a wonderful book for parents with the aid of pictures to explain to their children about daycare, because we're moving into this two-partner working family these days.
It's a strain for everybody in the family when both of the parents have to work. And yet we have this series called First Experiences with Putnam. And one of the books is about daycare. Another is When a New Baby Comes. One of the new ones is Going to the Doctor. And another one that's just coming out is called Going to the Potty. I don't know that there is any book that you can get that actually talks about toilet training with children, but it's a very serious matter in a 3-year-old's life or a 2-year-old's life.
I did want to talk to you about an area that I don't think we've discussed before, and that's your family. You've got a couple of grown sons. One of them's married.
One of them was married this summer.
Yeah, are you going to be a grandfather?
Someday, I hope.
Oh, here's a picture. Here's Fred Rogers and family. Why don't you introduce us to your family?
Well, there's John Rogers on the left. He was the best man. He's our younger son. And there's Tori and Jim, the bride and groom. And Joanne is my wife, and I. My wife is a concert pianist. She and her friend Janine Morrison do 2 piano concerts all over the country. They're just about to go and do a tour in the South.
Was this something she acquired during the marriage, or was she an awfully good piano player before you got married?
Very good. We met, as a matter of fact, in the conservatory. I was a composition major. You know, I write all the music for the neighborhood.
I knew you wrote music, but I didn't know you wrote all the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Joanne was a piano major at school, and I was a composition major. And this team developed way late in life. She and Janine have this wonderful 2-piano team.
What'd she do when the kids were being raised?
She took off 11 years from her career.
She practiced. Oh,
Well,
that's tough.
it is, and it's very hard to get back, but she said she was amazed at how quickly she got back.
Mm-hmm. Would you have objected to child care when your youngsters were growing up if both you and your wife had to work in those days?
I think that I would have had to have talked pretty seriously with Joanne about it, and that it would have had to have been a mutual decision. I mean, I think that you can object, but you really need to work those things out together.
Mm-hmm.
And she decided that she didn't have to continue to concertize, and I said fine. But she wanted those early years with just the kids.
Now, I know you've been doing work in television for roughly 30 years.
Oh, yeah.
And how long with Mr. Rogers now?
Well, on the network, it's been about 18.
18.
Yeah.
Does that affect you as a father and with your kids growing up? I mean, do you try to be something beyond just the normal father, or, I mean, any pressure
Barry,
to being a father to kids growing up with this image?
I think you really have to be yourself. The best thing that you can do for anybody, and I'm sure you've learned that, is to just offer one more honest adult in their lives.
Gee, that's a wonderful thing to say. One more honest adult in their lives. That's truly all they have, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The relationship with not only their little friends, but with adults.
Mm-hmm. But you do that through your work. And, you know, the millions of friends that you have through your television, you offer yourself. And that's why you're here so long. And that's why I'm here so long.
What about a message? Thank you, by the way. What about a message to your youngsters growing up?
Oh, I hope that they can feel good about who they are. You know, there's only one person in the whole world like them. And there's never been anybody before, and there never will be anybody after. And
I feel like I'm shrinking. My shoe size is getting smaller, and I'm sitting in front of the television. I hope you take that as a compliment.
I do.
Yeah. What do you tell people, parents, who have to send their youngsters off to child care? What's the best advice that you can give them, aside from taking a look at the series by Putnam?
Yeah. Well, I hope that they can know that they can be fine parents with the time that they do have with their children, and that they continue to grow themselves, because that's truly the most important thing about parenthood, is the ability to be able to grow through all of those early stages of childhood that you went through. You have a second chance to grow through them again with your children.
What about this quality versus quantity? I mean, should we look at these short periods of time that we have with children and try to pump them up artificially, or are we doing more harm than good?
The quantity is important. I mean, we can talk about quality all we want, but 10 minutes a year with somebody really isn't enough to have a wonderful relationship with that person. So I hope that we'll have more than 10 minutes a year.
We got more than 10 minutes. We got about 50 more minutes, and amongst other things, in your honor, sir, we have, I don't know if it's been done before, but it certainly is the first time on our show, a tennis fashion show, or tennis shoe fashion show, I should say.
I mean, we're going to have sneaker fashion?
We're going to have sneakers, yes, indeedy, and we'll go through the whole gamut. Okay. And I'll be right back with more of Our Magazine, along with my co-host, Fred Rogers.